When I was 17, I went to Japan for the first time as an exchange student. And I went to an all-Japanese high school. I didn't speak Japanese and I didn't know anything about the culture. And I was an exchange student for 12 months. And my original appeal to going to Japan was to study martial arts because Japan is the mecca for karate. The people of Japan were just so welcoming and I learned a lot. I got to train, I got to experience a lot of things that a lot of other 17-year-olds wouldn't have experienced, certainly if you hadn't been traveling. But then I came back to Australia and I went to university in Australia and I graduated in Melbourne, and then I went back to Japan to university to study in Tokyo. So I was supposed to be in Japan for a total of 3 years, but 3 years ended up being like 25. I don't think anyone was expecting me, even myself, to be in Japan for that long a period of time. But I just fell in love with Japan and was having a great time and learning a lot and seeing a lot. And 1 year rolled into the next, and 25 years later, I was married to a Japanese lady with 3 kids, happily settled and living in Tokyo. When I was in Japan, I spent most of my time working for international banks, investment banks like Goldman Sachs. And as a result of that, I would travel, globally, but also to Asia a lot, and particularly to Hong Kong. And when we would come to Hong Kong on business trips, we would often go out with our customers or internal events, and I was the Japan guy, so we would end up at a Japanese restaurant. And these restaurants were always full. They were always expensive, and I thought that the level was okay, but I thought it was definitely below what was available in Japan. So I thought that it made sense that if we could bring truly a sort of refined, authentic Japanese dining experience to Hong Kong, that from a business standpoint would be a good investment. And we opened a restaurant here in Hong Kong, in Shangwong, Sushi Shikon, which ended up becoming significantly more successful than I certainly anticipated. The real sort of growth in new restaurants started to take shape about 4 years ago. So we have a number of different partnerships with different chefs. So we don't have just one brand. So we have separate chefs that we've created different brands with. In some cases, the same type of cuisine, for example, sushi, but in some cases completely different, like teppanyaki or the izakaya style or the kappo style. So we have a number of master chefs that we have partnerships with and work very closely with. That's how we've been able to grow. They have a lot of similarities, even though each master chef is very unique in their style and their approach and their mindset and their background and things like that. Everybody is absolutely obsessed with quality, with making sure that the dining experience, they're the experts. So, myself personally, obviously rely on them to lead the way. And so when we are opening our restaurants and we're doing the design and the floor plan and everything like that, we have partnerships with people who are expertise in their area. So we bring the expert in every field, and when you bring it all together, the end result is you get this immaculately, beautifully fitted out restaurant with tableware that's basically artwork. Everything's handmade for a start. So when you sit in our restaurants, the greatest compliment we can get, particularly people who've been to Japan a lot, is, oh, I forgot I was in, Hong Kong. It feels like I'm in Japan. And that's, to us, that's what we're trying to achieve. Just like sushi has really exploded in the last 10 years, I think kappo cuisine is the next big thing in Japanese food, because people get that same counter experience that people love, the interaction with the chef, seeing all the preparation in front of you, and really an immersive experience. You get that at sushi, but kappo is a much more diverse menu. So a lot of people will be familiar with kaiseki. It's a much simpler version of kaiseki. And a lot of things on the menu that everyone will enjoy. The Japanese dining scene here in Hong Kong is very different than it was maybe a decade ago. And I think that we played a big role. Whenever somebody comes in and raises the bar and competition goes up, it's a very positive thing. The baseline is not what it used to be, so everybody steps up. And then that's a good result for the city of Hong Kong because, and not just sushi or kappo, but all of the Japanese cuisine starts to improve. Here in Hong Kong, people's understanding of what's real Japanese, what's imitation Japanese, what's fusion, has completely changed, completely. So I think the knowledge base, because everybody travels so much, everyone goes to Japan all the time. They have a true understanding of what is real, amazing Japanese food and what's imitation and what's being, tampered with to meet the taste buds of local people, and that's not what we do. We don't change anything. We have you do it exactly the same way we would do it in Japan. And we're very passionate, and we have very high expectations of what's required to achieve our goals. And we know that our customer base also, when they come and eat with us, they also walk in with high expectations, and they expect it to be a phenomenal dining experience. And we do everything we can to meet their expectations.